Right, so in this chapter, we are moving to something completely different, right? We said we are going to start on tree-based methods. Tree-based methods. So this chapter is going to be divided into, first we're going to look at the basics of decision trees. Just going to look at the basics of decision trees, and then we'll build on those. We'll build on decision trees. We're then going to move on to things like when we do the basics, when we understand the basics of decision trees, we're going to improve on them, and we're going to look at things. I'm just looking at my notes now because I do not want to start lying. We're going to then look at improvements. We're going to look at improvements on these basic decision trees. So things like bagging. We're going to look at bagging, random forests. We're going to look at random forests, and things like boosting. We're going to look at boosting as well. Boosting, yeah. So we're going to look at, right? So this is the structure. From these basics, we're going to build on to talk about things like random forests and all of that stuff, right? But just to give a highlight, basically what tree-based methods do is they separate or they segment the predictor space into a number of regions. So what we're saying is, let's say we have our Cartesian plane like this, x1, and then maybe this is x2, right? Tree-based methods, they pretty much just divide this region. They divide the Cartesian plane into regions, and then they'll say every point that is in here is part of region number 1, this one number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. So they pretty much just divide or segment the predictor space into a number of simple regions for either regression or classification. So we can use them for regression, or we can use them for classification. And then if an observation falls in any region, if we are doing regression, we'll see this later. I'm just giving the highlights right now. If we are doing a regression tree and an observation falls in R1, in the region number 1, we're going to use the mean of all observations in that region to come up with a predictor. Because we'll be like, oh yeah, you have fallen in R1, so what is your prediction? Let's say we have divided these into salary buckets, and then we'll say everyone who's falling in region number 1 is salary this amount, in region number 2 is this amount salary, region number 3 is this amount salary. That amount of salary for everyone in R1, it will be the mean salary for all observations in that region. So we'll add up every person who fell into that region and then divide by the number of people to get the mean salary. That will be the mean salary. But if it was classification, when it comes to classification, we'll look at the mode. Here we use the mode to come up with the overall prediction. So let's say it is let's just say risk for defaulting on a loan. Let's say here we have 3 people who have high risk, and we have 20 people who have low risk. What we're going to say, oh, what is the mode here? The mode is 20 low risk. So someone who fell into this region, we're just going to say yeah, low risk, because that is the mode. The mode was 20 low risk. We were 20 low risk people compared to 3 high risk. So we will use the mode, but we'll see these things later when we do regression trees and then when we do classification trees. So it's very important for us to know that these trees are going to be used for regression and classification. So when we are going to do the basics, and then we are going to improve on the basics using these methods here, like bagging, random forests, and building, and boosting. Boosting, which will dramatically, sometimes it will dramatically improve our prediction accuracy without any loss in, let's say, interpretation and stuff like that. So this is the structure of this chapter. In the next video, we are going to move on to the basics of decision trees. So stay tuned for that video.